Eruvin Daf Tzadik Aleph. On almost a daily basis, Stephen Sokolov from South Bend, Indiana, watches the Shir live on Zoom. Today, he watched it live on Zoom, but very differently. We saw him in his hospital bed. He's battling COVID. And he gave us a tremendous amount of chizuk. Even in such a situation, he's still learning Torah. So we wish Stephen a speedy recovery, refuah shlema, simcha nachum ben Yehudis Hadassah l'refuah shlema b'kar. As we learned yesterday, Machlekes, Reb Meir, Chachamim, Reb Shimon, Reb Meir holds that it's permitted to carry from one rooftop to another rooftop, even though they're owned by different individuals, but it's also to carry from one domain to another domain, for instance, from a rooftop to a chutzner. Chachamim argue, they say it's mutter to carry from a rooftop to a chutzner, but it's also to carry from rooftop to rooftop. And we explain this Machlekes in Chachamim between Rav and Shmuel. According to Rav, if you're standing on the rooftop, and below you there are two residents, there are two owners to this roof, but you cannot differentiate, you can't discern, and you can't see an outline of the walls underneath. So you don't apply the concept of good asik. There's no invisible walls, and therefore you are open to another rishus that's also for you, and that limits you to 4 amas. The Gemara says, in fact, there's a brisa that says exactly like Rav, and the brisa says that according to Chachamim, the rooftop is considered rishus lifnei atzma for each individual. It's considered rishus by itself, and therefore you are limited to 4 amas. We also learned that according to Rav Yehuda, he explains Reb Shimon, the third sheet in the Mishnah, that a gag, chatzar, and a karfaf are rishus achas. It's one domain, and therefore you can carry from a gag to a karfaf to chatzar, etc. In fact, the Gemara brings a great raya to Rav Yehuda. There's a brisa that says, Rebbe said, when we used to learn Torah by Reb Shimon in Tekoya, we used to carry our towels and oil on Shabbos to the river in order to bathe. Avoiding Rosh Hashanah and the Carmelites, we go from a chatzar to the gag to the karfaf, etc. So you see that you're allowed to go from a chatzar to a karfaf according to Reb Shimon is considered one rishus. Rebbe Yehuda adds that in the time of Sakana, when the Goyim didn't allow us to learn Torah and do mitzvahs, we used to carry a sefer Torah to avoid the Goyim through the karfaf, chatzar, and gag. Says the Gemara, don't bring any rayas from a Sakana. Sakana is different. So as we said, Reb Shimon says that a gag, chatzar, karfaf are considered one rishus. We have a major machlokes, and that's most of today's daf. Rav says that's only in a situation where they did not make an eruv to allow you to carry from your house to the chatzar. But if you made an eruv that you're allowed to carry from your house to the chatzar, you cannot go from a chatzar to a gag to a karfaf. Why? Because you might take something out of your own home and bring it to another chatzar. Shmuel and Rabbi Yochanan say doesn't make a difference. Even if you made an eruv, you're permitted to carry from a gag to a chatzar to a karfaf. So, first question from Rav Chizda is, how does Rabbi Yochanan, how do they differentiate between an object that you made an eruv to an object you didn't make an eruv? If you have 2 objects in your chatzar, how do you know that it came out of the house with an eruv, without an eruv? Says the Gemara, Reb Shimon is not worried about you carrying from your house to another chatzar. In fact, we see that if there are 3 chatzeros right next to each other, the 2 outer ones made an eruv with the inner one, so you're allowed to carry from the outer one to the inner one, from the inner one to the outer one. But the outer ones are not allowed to carry between each other. Shouldn't we be concerned that if one outer one, let's say the right guy, brought an object into the center chatzar, shouldn't we be concerned that by mistake it might end up from the center, it might go to the left? The answer is, Reb Shimon is not concerned. Chachamim are concerned, as we'll see soon. Rav Sheshes makes a very good point. It says in the Mishnah that according to Reb Shimon, you're allowed to carry from a chatzar to a karfaf to gag, provided that these objects were in the chatzar prior to Shabbos. But if they came there on Shabbos, it's asur. How did an object get from the house to the chatzar? Obviously, there was an eruv. Says Gemara, no, perhaps it's kumta v'sudra. It's his clothing. Clothing you're allowed to wear and take out into a chatzar that doesn't have an eruv. So he came out and he had a hat on. He put his hat down in the chatzar. Another brisa that we had previously, you have an upper level and a lower level, a merpeset and a chatzar. And the halacha is that even though there's a ladder, and the ladder could act as an opening from the upper level to the lower level, and that could be very problematic if they didn't make an eruv, because the upper people are going through the chatzar down below, and they ask, we're going to consider this ladder as a mechitza. And the halacha is that anything that's above 10 tefachim belongs to the upper level, provided that's within 4 tefachim of the upper level. And anything lower than 10 tefachim is controlled by both the upper and the lower, and therefore it's usher to carry on Shabbos. And the Gemara tells us that it's only when there are many people living in the upper level and the lower level and they did not make an Eruv, or if it's one individual that lives in the upper level and one individual on the lower level and they did make an Eruv. However, if it's many people and they forgot and they did not make an Eruv, then we must say that this is considered a Gag, Chotzer, and Achsadra, and a Repeset are all one Rishos. And this goes according to Rabbanan, that if there's an Eruv, that's problematic. And if there's no Eruv, not. Rabbanan are the ones that are Choshesh. And they say you might come to carry from your own house into someone else's Chotzer. As we said in the case of 3 Chatzeres, they're Choshesh over there as well. So, according to Rabbanan, a Gag, Chotzer, Achsadra, and Repeset, these 4 things are a Rishus b'fnei atzma. You can carry from your rooftop to the Merpeset, to the balcony, to the Chotzer, etc. But the Karfaf, the enclosed area, and a Mavoi are Rishus by themselves. So you cannot carry from your Chotzer to the Mavoi. Therefore, if you have 5 Chatzeres that are open to each other and open to a Mavoi, and they didn't make him a Eruv, it's also to carry from the Chotzer to the Mavoi, because the Chotzer and the Mavoi are 2 different Rishuyas. Reb Shimon is matter, and he says it's considered one rishus. Now we have to explain according to Rabbi Yochanan, even though it says they didn't make an eruv, he's going to have to explain that doesn't mean they didn't make an eruv completely. They made an eruv within the chatzar, but they didn't make an eruv to go from the chatzar to the mavoi. Or we'll explain that Reb Shimon was talking to Chachamim. Don't you agree to me that if they didn't make an eruv, it should be considered one rishus? There should be there's no concern, and they said no, it's 2 rishuyas. The Brisa says in the mavoi it's asr. That's the lashon. It's asr. The Gemara says it's not a right to Rav that if you have kalim that were in the Mavoi before Shabbos, you can't carry more than 4 amas. Because it's very possible that what it meant to say is that not that it's also to carry within the Mavoi, but it's also to carry from a Chatzar to the Mavoi. Although it already said this halacha once before, we need it twice. Once to tell us the case of when he made an Eruv, that you can't carry from the Chatzar to the Mavoi, and once when he didn't make an Eruv, you can carry from the Chatzar to the Mavoi. Have a wonderful day.